Hello, Carrie Hepburn here, and crazy hair. Clearly, this pandemic, it's time to go get a haircut or something. Today, what I want to do is just take a moment. It's going to be a really short clip and talk about how to orient a graphic novel. As a teacher, I know I had students in my class that love to read graphic novels, but I had absolutely no idea and no interest in reading one myself. What I found interesting is through some of my research, at least 40% of the top 10 books of 2019, 40%, four of those books were graphic novels. And so that tells me, and a lot of them for children. And so what that's telling me is that I need to change my thinking and I need to learn as much as I can about graphic novels so that I can support my students as graphic novel readers. So if you're in the same boat as I am, that at first you weren't really on the graphic novel train, well, I want to encourage you to get on the graphic novel train and give it a shot, because what I've learned over the last month is that they are more complex than I ever imagined, and enjoyable than I could ever have imagined as well. So I'm going to share my screen with you for just a second and take you to a Big Nate book. And so some things that I want to point out to you that you're going to need to understand as the teacher that's supporting students in reading graphic novels, these could be teaching points too that you consider, is that when you read graphic novels, you not only read the words, but you also need to read the illustrations that are happening and the panels. So a panel, I'm starting with some simple panels, and as I develop this series over the next however long it takes me, I will show you more complex panels at a later time. But you'll read the panels, and so right now the panels are very simple. It's just a square, okay, with not a lot of multiple squares inside of it. So that's a panel. And for students to do this, to read the pictures and the words and the panels, it takes a lot of thinking work. There's a lot of synthesizing that's happening. So don't discount the work that's happening when our students are reading graphic novels. What you need to understand, the difference between a graphic novel and a prose, and when I use the word prose, think about books that are in sentences and paragraphs, okay? That's what I mean when I say prose. The difference between graphic novels and prose are, in graphic novels, the words are not, these words are not doing the descriptive work. The descriptive work happens in the illustrations. In prose, the descriptive work happens in the words, and we have to make the mental picture. So in both prose and graphic novels, a lot of inferencing needs to take place. Okay, so there's a lot of thinking work in prose and a lot of thinking work in graphic novels. A lot of it's the same, but sometimes it's different. So when you look at a graphic novel, like this is Big Nate, Friends at Work, or something, Big Nate and Friends, I'm sorry. I would have anticipated that this was a very young text just by looking at it. But what I want to talk to you about is there are three lenses to consider when you're analyzing a graphic novel and what's appropriate for your students. The first one is the vocabulary. So you might see, like here is honor. That might be kind of a tough word for your students, and sometimes vocabulary is supported through the illustrations. So you need to look through some of these and just flip through and look as, are the vocabulary supported through the illustrations? Sometimes it is and sometimes it isn't, so that's one lens to consider. Another lens to consider is story context. Is it appropriate for the grade level? So I started reading some of the Big Nate books, and or graphic novels. I started to read some of the Big Nate graphic novels. See, I'm still learning, still thinking, still changing. And what I want you to think about is Big Nate, a lot of times I was reading one and he had a girlfriend and they kissed. And I'm not so sure that when I taught second grade, that would have been some of the things that they were talking about, very innocent, but maybe not context that I would want to put in front of my students. Now, mind you, depending where you live, it's just different. And so I completely understand that and respect that. Consider you, that's why teacher judgment's really important. I'll say that. And then finally, the visual storytelling. When you look through the book, visual storytelling is unique to graphic novels. So something that I want to point out is that we still read left to right, and this would be considered a 2-page spread. I just took a picture. So this is page 1 on this side, these 4 panels, and this is page 2. So just like when you read a book that's prose, it's left to right, top to bottom, okay? Some vocabulary that I really think is important for you to know is panel. So panel is just like this. We'll see, I just did, and you know what, forgive me, I might as well just do it. This is to help you guys, right? To help people. I just posted on my Facebook page a post and showed you examples of different type of panels, just to give you another example. And again, this is, I'm going a little bit off here and here. Let me see if I can pull this up really well. See this, like a panel can be a single box, it can be multiple boxes, or a big box with some small ones in there. So when I say that term panel, that's what I'm meaning, is the story is told. In a panel, when you move from one panel to the next, that's considered a passage of time, okay? Something else that's going to be really important to you is that you're going to want to teach students that this is a speech bubble. And this is a thought bubble. See that? So they're different. This is the internal thinking, and this is thinking that's coming out, that's being spoken to the other characters. And it's important for students to know that. And then there's something called emanata, and that's where you have these little lines, and they, oops, sorry guys, these little lines here around Big Nate, they help communicate a message. And so depending what those lines look like could depend the message that's being communicated, or how that character is feeling, okay? So what's really cool is if you just take a moment, I'm gonna read this and model this for you. Everyone, this is Arthur. He just moved to this country and wants to join our chess team. Looks like the teacher. We see that this is Arthur being introduced to the characters, kind of look at their expressions. Looks like no big deal. Oh, hey. Hey, Arthur, I'm Nate. I'm our team's #1 player. I'd be happy to take you under my wing, show you a few moves, that sort of thing. See, look at Nate. See, they're shaking hands. Hello. Arthur was the boys' age group chess champion of Belarus. See, the teacher's like walking away. And then you can see down here, Nate's kind of like looking like, huh? You can kind of see his thinking. Look at his eyebrows. And so these are all going to be things that the kids are going to need to notice to understand. Look over here. Look at the change in Nate's face. What do you think he's feeling? Here's a thought bubble. You can see him, Belarus. And then down here, Arthur's talking, very small country, barely 11 million. And then looky here, we're moving up, back up to the top left. So, oh, I guess it's not Arthur, Arthur. I'm going Arthur. Sounds like you're quite a chess whiz. I like chess very much. I still look at Nate and look at his face. He doesn't look nearly as confident as when he was taking him under his wing, does he? Why don't you play Nate here? What? This is going to be something that you're going to want to notice. Look at how that speech bubble changed. Look at it's like all bold. See that? And then look at Arthur's face. It would be an honor. And then the emanada. Look at here. What do you think that's like expressing to us? What do you think Nate's feeling? Whoa, that means what's the hurry? I mean, I'm not really in a chess mood right now. I'm sure Arthur probably doesn't want, and then looky here. No, see the change in the speech bubble? The bold print, all caps, just like that. Okay, maybe honor was wrong word. Oh, okay, maybe honor was wrong word. And then look, you can see he's just kind of like, maybe I was thinking wrong. So this is, I hope it was helpful for you. I was hoping to just like give you some ideas about supporting your students when it comes to reading graphic novels. I want to encourage you to give it a shot as well. We'll move through tomorrow on graphic novel that's a little more complex as far as the pains, so that we can look at some more complex pains, and then how speech bubbles kind of like they're on top of each other in thought bubbles, so it gets really confusing and can take some practice to learn how to navigate. And so as the teacher, it's really important for you to understand that as well. So thank you for everything. Have a great day. And I found this graphic novel on Epic. So I will be happy to link that in my Facebook message, that you can find where to get Epic, and that all these graphic novels are there that you can start exploring. Have a great day. Thank you.